Hey guys, and welcome back to the Saturday Night Show. This is not Saturday. Hey guys, and welcome back to SNS for our next episode, episode 4 of Critical Cinema, where we review not only the trailers but the movies of. I don't know where I was going with that. Hey guys, welcome back to SNS. This week on Critical Cinema, we're going to be exploring Goodfellas, a classic movie that some would compare to be better than that of The Godfather. Now, will it be that much better? We'll find out in this episode. And today, just like every episode, I am joined by co-host Justin Smith. Justin, welcome back to the show.
I have arrived.
He has, and it's going to be awesome. Alright, so, 2 minutes in, opening scene, before the flashback, before it starts the story up, looks like. We start off with them driving down the road, they just chilling, they just be like that, the gangsters, they're riding, they hear something, they're like, hey man, what's that? Is it hail? Is it rain? Do we get a flat tire? Oh wait, no, it's a dead body in the back, still not dead. Ha, well, they kinda gotta deal with it. So what did they do? You know what they always do. A little stab, and it deals with the problem. Always. So, it's pretty intense, first scene. What do you think, Justin?
It's probably somewhere in my top 10 favorite opening scenes of any movie because it's just right to the point of one of the most brutal parts of being a gangster, and that and yet it shows a contrast with the extreme horrific violence, and then him, the main character, introducing the fact that as far back as he can remember, he always wanted to be a gangster even as a kid.
And honestly, I'm gonna have to praise. I don't know why I'm doing this accent. I'm just gonna do it. Anyways, I have to praise how it's so normal. Cause I mean, they're like driving, they're talking, and then they're like, oh, we got to deal with it. Like it's just normal. Like it's gangster life. When we see that and we're like, hey, what in the world? That's terrible. Hopefully, if you don't, please seek help. Um, but they're just like, oh, we just killed a guy, and that's just normal. Anybody want some cheeseburgers? It makes it very normal. So I say they did a good job on that.
Yeah, I don't think they ever said they wanted cheeseburgers,
No,
but
no, no. Trust me.
yeah,
I was a gangster. You can tell by my perfect accent. I'm totally from New York. Not at all, but I'm trying.
okay then.
With that though, let's get back into it. All right. We're learning more about him, and he's doing some jobs, he's doing some dirty work, working his way up the tiers. And I'm gonna just drop the accent, I'm just drop it. Anyways,
Thank you,
you're
thank you.
welcome. You're welcome, everybody who's watching. I know you wanted me to stop, so I kind of heard you in the future. Anyways, so he lights all these cars. I'm guessing rival gang, something. Lights these cars with gasoline, and then he tosses in the match, and then it goes boom, huge explosion. But anyways, it's huge explosion, and it is epic. I feel bad for the kid that did it. The in the filming of it, because I mean, dude, the heat behind that. Oh my goodness! Like, can you just imagine running from that heat? It's like it's crazy. It gets really hot. It's
Yeah,
like a Michael Bay.
yeah, that was a chain reaction explosion. I look back at it, and you can see the cars blow up one by one. It's just they blow up really fast.
And going off that, can we show that in slow motion, please? Don't do this at home, kids. Not safe.
Definitely do it at home. Do it
Definitely.
all 20 of your cars in your parking lot. Do it all.
If you go to Chick-fil-A, you see all sorts of people's cars sitting out there. Gasoline, light a match. No, I'm joking. Don't actually, okay? We don't indulge gangster actions, even though I am a gangster. Anyways,
My God,
back to the movie.
The usage of music in this movie is like really incredible. Like it's so like in your face but subtle at the same time, and there's just constant barrage of it one after the other. But then he like Martin Scorsese knows how to like use silence very well too. Like he'll know when to cut the music off and let the moment speak for itself.
And what I applaud him for, because sometimes it's taken as like, oh my goodness, that's kind of risky, is where you'll have a music going, and then all of a sudden it cuts just like that, it stops. Where with most films you have like this scale down of music, it ramps down, um, in it, but he'll just cut it. Scene change, boom. We don't need it right now. This scene needs it something different. Just silence. So like the fact that he took that bold move does even more storytelling with it, and I applaud him for that. And already, as I said, don't try it at home. Don't do it in your neighborhood, outside of your neighborhood, anywhere. But this movie, best way to describe it, makes you want to be a gangsta. I mean, you want to be like him. Aside from the murder, probably. That's not a good thing. Or the stealing, or the, a lot. But it looks like a brotherhood. It looks awesome.
That was an insanely long take. That was like almost 3 whole minutes of them walking around, characters doing this and doing that, and going all the way from outside into the car, all the way to inside. We go through the back, through the kitchen, all the way up into the actual place. And then they set up a whole table, and then they had the comedian go on stage. And then, like a little while after that, then they cut.
Yeah, honestly, that was an insane go through. And I'm questioning whether or not it was a full one shot take. I highly doubt, because cinematographers a lot of the time do hidden cuts. Um, because it really starts when they leave the car, because there's a cut when he gives the guy the money. So they start walking down, and there's just this like, every time like they pass a corner, I could see it being a different cut, a little change off, a little change right there with the camera to make it a different take. But if it was one take, I don't know for sure, but if it was, oh my goodness, bravo to them, because like it's just so hard to create something that long.
Yeah, with all the actors and all the extras and all the stuff going on, and they have to say their lines right and do it well, and everyone has to do it. Like nobody can mess up.
Yeah, because one
Nobody
person
can.
messes up, you got to restart the whole entire thing again.
Yeah, an extra can like slip and fall in the background or something. You have to like restart the entire take.
I'm gonna be pretty honest and think I'm guessing there's at least two hidden cuts here. Probably between either a person passing by the camera, which is a common one, or when it passes around a corner when the camera goes by, they use the edge of it to pan into the new shot, so you don't see it, but it actually does. That's just my personal guess on this. But you guys should totally go check out and see if they actually did it in one shot. Comment below and tell us what you found out. Um, but it's insane. It reminds me of 1917, the movie that is supposedly all one shot, or gives the appearance of it. It's not actually. They did really well timed hidden cuts. Um, but like, it's crazy. And to do what, you guys have no clue how hard it is to pull off one of those. It looks so simple. You just walk behind them with the camera, but it's not. Everything has to go perfect. The lighting has to be the same, because like if you look at movies like that, say that exact scene, if they did it on multiple nights, the lighting has to be exactly the same. If one lamp is out of place, if one light that was on in the first shot is off in the second one, it can destroy that sense of this is the same exact moment.
Yeah, and I really love like the metaphor of the scene itself. Like they're like all luxurious and taken care of and like all like luxury and class, but they had to go through the back in order to get it. Like it was like one long take through like the hula bar. Like he's actually like an ex gangster. Like he used to be like a mob boss, but now he's like out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like on all sorts of like YouTube videos to like because of the fact that he's like an ex mob boss, so he like ranks like certain like things, like movies and games, on how accurate they are to actually how real like operations would go. And in one of the videos, it kind of blew my mind when I was seeing it. He is in the movie. He is one of those people that's introduced. He's like the one guy with like the slick back hair.
Did they consult him on the movie?
No, but I think they consulted like the guy who, like the actual guy, like Henry,
Mm-hmm.
like the real life Henry. They consulted him and the real life Jimmy on it.
Can you just imagine like the meeting where they're like, okay, so in this scene we're gonna go back over, where you guys stab the guy, and he's like, so as you can see in the shot, he does it. He's like, no, 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 you got it all wrong, man. I don't know what accent I just did, but he's like, hey, no, no, that's not how I do it. I did it 3 times, not 2. What's wrong with you? It's gotta be 3. He took his last breath on the second one. It's like that'd just be weird ways to think of it, but like I mean, it could have been something like that. He's like, no, 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 that's wrong. I did not take 2 bites out of the soup. I took one, and you don't bite soup, by the way. You drink it. Let's get to rating this thing. So first off, cinematography of this movie, Martin Scorsese. What are we thinking here?
Absolutely incredible.
For sure, definitely, hands down. Probably my favorite shots were the ones where it's like the one shot walk through all these areas, meet the different people, or when they would break the fourth wall, with looking and talking. It was just very well done.
Yeah, he uses like zooms and pans and tilts and all sorts of stuff so excellently. Like you know when to do it with one thing and then do it with another, and then do it one way and then another. It was just constantly going on throughout the entire movie, and it was just incredible the whole way through.
It just flows. I'd have to give it a 5, honestly, out of 5.
Yeah, 5 stars.
Okay, so next up, character development. How do we think it here?
They developed the whole like main cast around like the characters, especially uh, Henry and Karen, the two main characters. They were developed the best, but Jimmy and uh, the other guy were developed like really well too.
Yeah, it
Like
seemed
we got
like they
to
used the 2 main characters to develop everybody else, and it seemed like the whole gang that you originally met, you kind of got to know each of them individually in a
yeah
weird way.
we got to see the perspective from the main gang member himself, who was never like a mob boss like all these people in the movies. He was simply just one of the mobsters, and we got to see the perspective of his wife too.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was amazing.
Just the different angles of it totally like paint the whole entire story in that world in a totally different fashion than you could have seen as just a outside detective or one single mobster.
Yeah, they really showed like the ins and outs of how this like all functioned and how why characters did certain things like than others. It all worked amazingly.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I give it a star.
yeah, I would give it 5 as well. Next up, visual effects and sound effects. What are we thinking here?
Well, 1990 didn't have particularly great CGI,
No,
so
not really.
most of the visual effects were like practical. Most of them were like blood effects.
Yeah.
Those
Uh,
were really well done.
I'd say some of them were
Like
pretty good, but there were some like that. They were a little over the top, and because of that, they looked unrealistic. Like for
the only
example, when you see like them shoot the Home Alone crook, he gets shot and the blood comes out, but it just looks so. It's so fast and so like a fountain basically. When you look at the way that movies do them, like the whole idea of getting boom 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 boom, you're getting shot back like 5 feet because of the bullets. It doesn't really do that. It doesn't like completely tear you to shreds depending on the bullet. And then like the idea of, oh my goodness, there's gushing blood, blah blah blah. That's not really realistic when you actually see someone get shot or when you shoot an animal, stuff like that. It's a puncture wound, but it doesn't start splurting. So when something like that happens, for me personally, since I've seen what a real shot can do, um, it just breaks that sense of realism to it because it's not following the laws of like how guns actually work. Some of them were really well done, like the splatters seem to match what I've seen in forensics, what would happen with the shots and the angles and all that. But sometimes movies take creative liberties, and when they do that, it can be an art style. Some people see it as an art style, but me, I look for realism, and that's why, for me personally, it demotes a little bit. But sound effects, that's where this movie is at. Like when a movie, you watch the movie and it's so realistic, you don't even think about the sound effects in it. That's when they're so good.
Yeah, like the sound effects were like overall completely throughout the entire movie, just fantastic.
When you don't notice them, that's when they're perfect. And this movie accomplished that full on. It's like a 4 for the VFX combining ours, our average. Next up, set, lighting, and costumes. And I'm going to say straight off, I didn't question any of them, whether they were real or not. I just accepted them as real. So I'm going to just say that straight off.
Yeah, the lighting was like incredibly realistic and combined that with incredibly faithful to the times, like sets and costumes and vehicles and everything. Like everything was just perfect.
Mm. And like, movies take so many different looks at lighting. Some of them like take dynamic looks of lighting. Um, to give create that world. Some of them go for completely outrageous that don't make any sense, oversaturation, stuff like that. But this movie nailed right on the head the realistic, as you said. Like it didn't look like, oh, he put a light over there to light their faces. No, it looked like, oh, the lamp right in front of him, that's what's lighting him up. He didn't just do lighting, he did lighting with a purpose, lighting with the reason behind it. Something had to bring the light into it and he would show it. And I think Scorsese really did a well job of showing that.
Yeah, there was never a moment where like you can even like question that like something was out of place or anything because everything was just period accurate, like realistic accurate, like nothing was out of place or and everything just fits so well that actually added to the realism and overall to just the whole movie.
I would say 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
Film score. Um, and you can start us off on this one. What do you thought?
I'd give it a 5 out of 5. Like I remember first watching this movie for the first time. I just happened to catch it on TV, and I was just like, I didn't even really know that much about it. I just like started watching it, and it just like hooked me from start to finish, and I like couldn't believe how good it was. And I think one of the greatest things about this movie is how unbelievably rewatchable it is. This
Mm,
is probably like the sixth time I've rewatched it, and like only like a couple weeks ago, I think I watched this movie. Like this movie is even more rewatchable than The Godfather.
that ranks it, guys, in our masterpiece section. Right up there with 2001: A Space Odyssey, honestly. So that was really well done. And comment below if you want us to see us do The Godfather and do like a versus video of this versus The Godfather and rate those and see which one did things better and which one did the other things better. Just see if you guys want us to do that. But with that, that concludes this episode. We hope you guys will catch us next episode where we'll be reviewing more trailers and more movies. Stay tuned for the entire season and don't forget to check out more content from SNS. We will be uploading every Saturday. That's right, every single Saturday, new content coming out. And I want to thank Justin again for joining us as our co-host every single episode.
No problem. I'm very excited to force you to watch some really amazing movies.
We love forcing you to do this, guys. You have no choice, actually. You can't click out of the YouTube video. I'm sorry. just not available. If you do, we may have to, I don't know. How did they say it in the movie? Whack you. Anyways,
You're gonna you're gonna get whacked
pop. We're just gonna take you out.
in the
Anyways,
bad kind of way,
yeah, in the bad
not the
kind.
good kind of.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next episode.